Can you tell me which word is spelled correctly? Boxes, boxes, boxes. Keep this in mind because we're going to come back to it later. In this video, we're going to learn about singular nouns and plural nouns that end in s, es, and ies. First of all, do you remember what a noun is? A noun is a person, place, animal, or thing. Then what's a singular noun? A singular noun means that there is one of something. A good way to remember this is that the word singular has the word single in it, which means there's only one. What about a plural noun? A plural noun means that there's more than one. A good way to remember this is that the word plural has the word plus hidden in it, which means more. Like in math, when you want to add more, you use the plus sign, right? We're going to look at 3 rules today to change a singular noun to a plural noun. Rule number 1. Add s at the end to make a plural noun. Let's look at a couple of singular nouns. Dog, girl, book, park. So how do you make these singular nouns plural to show that there's more than one? All we have to do is add s. Dogs, girls, books, parks. Easy peasy, right? But hold on a minute. They're the easy ones. Let's look at the next rule. Rule number 2. Add es at the end to make a plural noun. Singular nouns that end in s, ss, sh, ch, x, or z need an es at the end to become plural. Just think of this weird hissing sound. S, s, sh, sh, x, z. Now remember the words at the beginning of this video? Boxes, boxes, boxes. Which one is spelled correctly?
Make sure you're paying
Box
attention.
is a word that ends with an X, that hissing sound. So we're going to add es. It's boxes. Let's make these singular nouns plural then. Bus, kiss, bush, bench, box, quiz. Because these words end in the hissing sound, they'll have an es ending to become plural. Are you ready to make these words plural to show that there's more than one? Buses, kisses, bushes, benches, boxes, and quizzes. Good job! Now let's look at the final rule we will cover in this video. Rule number 3. Drop the y and add ies. Look at this word here, kitty. When the y follows a consonant, drop the y and add ies. Just so you know, a consonant is a letter that is not a, e, I, o, or u. Let's take a look at this word, baby. Y follows b. B is a consonant. So let's drop that last letter, y, and add ies. Babies. We have many babies. Change these singular nouns to plural nouns by dropping the y and adding ies. Cherry, lady, puppy, party. Are you ready to make them plural? Right, let's do it. Cherry, drop the y and add ies. Lady, drop the y and add ies. Puppy, drop the y and add ies. Party, drop the y and add ies. There, we did it. Good job. Should we do a little review? What's a singular noun? A singular noun means that there is one of something. Then what's a plural noun? A plural noun means there's more than one thing. Now it's your turn. Can you make these words plural?
I want you to try to do it.
City, truck, dish.
Try to do it in your head. About which one each one would be.
Okay, shall we check? Witches, cities, trucks, dishes. How did you do? I hope this video helped you better understand about singular and plural nouns. Check out the description below for more videos like this. You also...
Everyone go ahead and on the top of your clean paper, of your clean sheet in your grammar notebook, write the title of today's notes, which is singular and plural nouns. Remember what we learned about common and proper nouns. If it's the title of something, every word is capitalized except the unimportant words like and, of, in, the, a, and, those kind of words. So the title of today's notes is singular and plural nouns, and then we're going to write the date, September 28, 2020. That's correct. And then let's first talk about what is a singular and a plural noun. Well, first, let's talk about singular. So we're going to put our dot next to or on the pink line. And then we're going to start with our definition for singular noun. A singular noun names one. Underline the word one, spell out the word one. Names one person, place, thing, or idea. Remember, person, place, thing, or idea, those are nouns. So a singular noun names one of those things. For example, notice I have an indentation. I'm not starting my example right under singular noun. I'm moving over a little bit. For example, student. I'm talking about one student. Museum. I'm talking about one museum. And baseball. I'm talking about one thing, one sport, one baseball. Now a plural noun. You can skip a space between the example and plural noun, but you don't have to. But start plural nouns along the same pink line as you did singular nouns, because this is a kind of a new topic. A plural noun names more than one, underline more than one, person, place, thing, or idea. So a singular noun names one. Remember, we have that base word single. Single means only one. And in plural, we have the base word plus. Plus means you're combining, you're making more than one. So singular nouns name one person, place, thing, or idea. Plural nouns name more than one person, place, thing, or idea. For example, students. Talking about more than one student, like 2 or 3 students. Museums. talking about more than one museum, talking about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the museums, and baseballs. Talking about more than one baseball. I'm talking about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the baseballs that a baseball team would have. For this next note, you can skip a line between plural of the examples, and this one you do not have to. This is a note. Most, put in parentheses, but not all, because remember, most means a whole lot, but not every single one. Most nouns are made plural by adding S. Make sure you put that dash. The dash before S means I'm talking about just that letter. By adding S to the end of the singular word. And that is a sentence, so we'll put a period at the end. These are not sentences, so they do not have periods. So most, but not all, nouns are made plural by adding S to the end of the singular word. Like when we wanted to make student plural, we added just an S. When we wanted to make museum plural, we just added an S. When we wanted to make baseball plural, we just added an S. In that video, when they wanted to make dog, girl, I forgot what the other two were. Does anybody remember? Dog, girl, and then there were two others. Boy, whatever. You would just add S. So most, but not all nouns are made plural by adding S to the end of the singular word. Let me know when I can erase this. Okay, so like I just said, this is the rule. Most, but not all nouns are made plural by adding the letter S to the end of the singular word. However, there are some exceptions to the rule. So make sure you have your dot, your bullet point on or next to the pink line. And now we're going to write exceptions to the rule. So don't skip any spaces between here and when I tell you. So the first exception that we're going to talk about today is when a singular noun ends with S, and remember this dash means I'm talking about the letter S. So when it ends with the letters S, CH, SH, X, or Z. Remember in that video, this is a really good point that I never thought of. All of these sounds kind of make that hissing sound, like S and sh and sh and x and z. Do you hear that hissing sound that all of those letters and those letter combinations make? So anytime you have a singular noun that ends with these letters, add the letters ES. Make sure that you have these dashes. Also, remember, make sure that you are copying all punctuation, all capitals, all lowercase, and all spelling. So when a singular noun ends with S, CH, ch, SH, sh, X, x, or Z, z, add ES to the end of the word. For example, dress becomes dresses. Otherwise, if we only added an S, it would just sound like dress. And would I say, I bought 9 dress this weekend? Does that make sense? No, I would say I bought 9 dresses this weekend. I did not do that. That would be insane. Another example, brush becomes brushes. So we added ES to the end of dress and the ES to the end of brush. Because we would not say, buy me 6 hairbrushes. Does that make sense? How do we say that? We say, buy me 6 hairbrushes. So you can hear these things. You can hear why they are spelled that way. Branch, like a tree branch. We wouldn't say 3 tree branches fell on my house. We would say 3 tree branches fell on my house. So we add that ES to the end of branch. The example, one of the examples they used. If we have 21 box, we wouldn't say 21 box. We would say, I have 21 boxes. So you can hear that ES, that short E, and that S. But since it's at the end of the word, usually we would say it like Z, boxes. And last but not least, buzz. I wouldn't say my alarm clock made 7 buzz sounds or buzz. I would say my alarm clock made 7 buzzes. Because we add ES. Now I know it sounds like Z, but you know if you're making it plural, a plural noun would never end with Z. It almost always ends with S, even more often than this. Because even a lot of irregular plurals, which we'll talk about next week, end with S. So, if the singular noun ends with S, CH, SH, X, or Z, add ES. That is almost always. Anytime you see a singular noun with an S, an SH, a CH, an X, or a Z at the end, you're going to add ES to make it plural when you're talking about more than one. 2, the next exception to the rule is when a singular noun ends with a consonant. Remember, a consonant means not A, E, I, O, U, not a vowel. When a singular noun ends with a consonant, followed by the letter Y. So when a singular noun ends with a consonant, which is not A, E, I, O, or U, so it's A, B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z. Although it wouldn't be Y either, but whatever. When it ends with a consonant, that's any letter but A, E, I, O, or U, followed by a Y, change the Y, change that letter Y to the letter I, and add the letters ES. So when a singular noun ends with a consonant, that's any letter except A, E, I, O, U, so not a vowel, followed by a Y, change the Y to I, and then add ES. For example, cherry doesn't become cherries. Do we say cherries? It becomes, we take off that Y, so we'll write C-H-E-R-R. We're going to take off that Y, change it to an I, and then add ES. We have the consonant R. Cherry ends with the consonant R followed by a Y. So we change that Y to an I and then add ES. Another example, spy. At the end of spy, we have the consonant P followed by a Y. We keep that consonant, change the Y to an I, and then add ES. So spy does not become spice. It becomes spies. Is everybody with me? Because we're going to add a rule 2.5. Because that means it has to do with this Y, but it's different. Because here we have consonant followed by a Y. Well, what if it's a vowel followed by a Y? We'll talk about that next. Underneath rule number 2, you're going to add rule number 2.5, which means the same thing as 2.5. Because this rule also has to do with Y. When a singular noun ends with a vowel, which is A, E, I, O, U. So when a singular noun ends with a vowel followed by the letter Y, remember that dash means letter, Y, followed by the letter Y, just add S. So this is not the same as rule number 2. It is not the same as rule number 2 because rule number 2 says when a singular noun ends with a consonant followed by a Y, you change the Y to I and add ES. But rule number 2.5 says when a singular noun ends with a vowel, so that's A-E-I-O-U, followed by Y, you don't change the Y, you just leave it how it is, and you just add S. For example, stray, like if you're talking about stray animals, like the strays that live in the neighborhood or whatever. You have the vowel A followed by a Y, so do you change that Y to I? No, because it's vowel followed by Y, so stray just becomes strays. All we did was add an S after the Y. We did not change the Y, because if we changed the Y to I and then added ES, we would have strayees. And would we say, look at all the strayees that live in my neighborhood? No. It's the same thing with boy. We have the vowel O followed by a Y. Are we going to make this word boy into boy-ees? Does that sound right? There are 2 boy-ees in this classroom? No. Because it ends with the vowel O followed by a Y, all we do is add S. And that's it for today. Those are all the plural and singular rules we will learn this week. Next week, we will add some more rules, or more exceptions to the rules. But what we talked about today, these are common exceptions. That means we see them pretty often. We see these pretty often. The rules, the exceptions to the rule that we'll learn next week are not as common. We don't see them as much, or we don't see as many words that follow the rules. These rules we talked about today are where we have a lot of words that follow that rule. There's quite a lot of words that end with S, SH, CH, X, or Z. Almost all of them, pretty much every one that you will see will follow the rule add ES. We see a lot of a lot of nouns that end with a consonant and then a Y. So pretty much everyone will follow rule number 2. We see a lot of words that end with a vowel followed by a Y, so pretty much all of them will follow rule number 2.5. Most words will follow our main rule, which is singular nouns, add an S to the end. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the guided practice. We have 2 pages of guided practice today. The first page, we're just trying to decide, is a word plural or is it singular? Are they talking about one or are they talking about more than one? The second page of guided practice, we are going to write the correct plural form of the word, following the main rule and then our exceptions to the rule. Let's look at the guided practice. We're going to look at the front. The front has page 39 down at the bottom. Before we begin, what do we always do on sheets like this? Before we start, before we even get to the directions, what do we always do on sheets like this, or that have this tool? Zari?
We read the box.
We read what's in the box. We always do that first when we have a sheet that has that tool. So, Zari, go ahead and read us the first bullet point.
A singular noun names one person, place, or thing. Example, teachers, cities, dogs.
Are you reading that how it appears there? Because you just read teachers, cities, dogs. Is that singular?
No.
No, so please read it correctly. This is why you have to make sure that you are reading things exactly as they appear. Because, Zari, you told us what a singular noun is, but your examples were plural. So that could be very confusing to somebody. So that's why you have to make sure that you are reading it exactly as it appears. So, Zari, try again. Start with a singular noun.
A singular noun names one person, place, or thing. Examples, teacher, city, dog.
Good. One person, a teacher. One place, a city. One thing, a dog. Good. Read the next bullet point. Carla, slowly and quickly, make sure you read exactly as it appears.
A plural noun name more than one person, place, or thing. Examples, teachers, cities, dogs.
Good. So we have more than one. We don't know how many, maybe 3. 3 teachers, 3 different places, 3 cities, 3 different things, 3 dogs. Good. Read the very last bullet point, Zadie.
Add S to form the plural of most singular nouns.
Good. So we know for most singular nouns they're going to end with S. Some of them we might have to add a little more, but going through this, we know the only thing we have to look for is what at the end of the word, Zadie? S. So, now, the directions say, decide whether each underlined word is a singular or plural noun, then write singular or plural on the line. Everybody's going to get a chance to do one, and then we're going to move on to the second page, because we don't need to do this whole thing. Number 1, there are no jobs here. We have the word jobs underlined. Carla, is that singular or plural? Are we talking about one job or more than one job?
More, so that's gonna be plural.
Plural. Very good.
Plus.
Jobs is
Plural is
plural.
like
We
plus.
see that it ends with S. We know we are talking about multiple jobs, so that is plural. Number 2, my family is leaving the country. Kingston, we have country underlined. Are we talking about one country or are we talking about multiple countries? So what is it? Singular or plural? Loudly, sit up please. Singular. We don't see an S. That means on this sheet it is singular. However, just know if you're looking on this sheet, if you see an S, it's going to be plural. If you don't see an S, it's going to be singular. But in real life, is that true for every single plural and singular noun? No. And we'll learn more about that next week. Take it off your head right now. Number 3, we're going to stay with my grandparents for now. Zadie, grandparents. Are we talking about one grandparent or multiple grandparents?
Multiple.
How do you know?
Because there's an S.
So that means this word is
Plural.
plural. Remember, the word multiple means more than one. Number 4, Papa sent us a letter. Smith, are we talking about one letter or multiple letters?
One letter.
How do you know?
Because there is no S at the end.
So that means this word is
Singular.
singular. Number 5, he is meeting us at the bus station. Victoria, the word station, is that one station or multiple stations? How do you know? It's a pattern. It's been the same every time. Can somebody help her out? How do we know this is just one station? Michaela.
Because it doesn't have an S.
So how do we know it's just one? So it is singular. Number 6, we're waiting to get our green cards. The word cards. Colin, are we talking about one card or multiple cards?
Multiple,
How do you know?
because there's an S.
So that means cards is
Plural.
plural. Number 7, this trip is taking forever. The word trip. Are we talking about one trip or multiple trips, Michaela?
One trip.
How do you know?
Because it doesn't have
So what is this word, singular or plural?
a single.
Okay, number 8, it's been weeks since I've seen you. Aaron, are we talking about 1 week or multiple weeks? How do you know?
Because there is an S.
So is this singular or plural?
Plural.
Plural. That means, now that we've learned about this, when I'm reading your writing and you're talking about more than one, what do I better see at the end? Carla?
A S.
An S. Zari, last one, and then we're going to move on. The pages of my diary are filling up. Are we talking about one page or multiple pages?
Multiple.
So, how do we know?
Because there's an S
Good.
at the end.
So that means, pages is
Plural.
plural. Very good. Okay, we're going to move on to the back. So go ahead, turn the page over. Before we begin, what should we always do with pages that have this type of tool? Aaron, read what's in the box. Okay, so Aaron, go ahead and read the first bullet point.
Add S to form the plural of most singular nouns.
Good. Zadie, read the next bullet point.
Add ES to of singular nouns that ends in S, SH, CH, or X.
And, add, or, Z. Cross out that or, change that period to a comma, and then put a period after Z. Because we know also Z follows that rule. Okay, read the next bullet point. Michaela.
To form the plural of nouns ending in a consonant and Y, change Y to I and add ES.
Good. So if you have nouns ending in a consonant, that means any letter other than A, E, I, O, or U, then Y, change the Y to an I, then add ES. Kingston, read the last bullet point.
To form the plural of nouns ending in a vowel and Y.
Not and, what does that say? Oh, it does, I'm sorry, it does say and.
Add S.
Good. So if it ends in a vowel, A, E, I, O, or U, followed by Y, just add S. Don't change the Y, don't add E, just add S. So the directions for this, they write the correct plural form of each noun in parentheses. That means they've given it to us incorrectly. You have to fix it. Lady, number 1, we saw blank running across the prairie. They have foxes, spelled F-O-X-S. Is that how we would spell the plural form of foxes? What is the singular form of foxes? If we're just talking about one, what are we talking about? A?
Fox.
How would we write fox? Which rule would it follow? 1, 2, 3, or wait, no. Yeah, or 4.
Number 2.
2, because it ends with,
ES.
it ends with what? What does the singular form of foxes end with? Fox. What does fox end with?
S.
What letter does fox? This is the incorrect form. Remember, I just said that. The singular form of the word foxes is fox. What letter does fox end with?
X.
So if a singular noun ends with X, what do you have to add to the end to make it plural? If a singular noun ends with X, what do we add to the end to make it plural?
S.
That's what they have here. Is that correct? We have the singular form of fox. It ends with X. Look at our rules. If a singular noun ends with X, what do you do to make it plural? You add what?
Add ES.
You add ES. We wouldn't say fox. If we're talking about more than one, we would say foxes. Number 2, many people from other blank have come to the United States. Kingston, they have the incorrect form of countries. First, what is the singular form of countries? Can't hear you.
Country.
Scoot your chair in and sit up. What is it?
Country.
Country. Country ends with what letter?
Y.
Does a vowel or a consonant come before it? Does a vowel or a consonant come before Y? Which one? A consonant. So, which rule do we have to follow? Number 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 3, which means we do what? Is that right? Look at the board. Is that right? You told me to add ES. Is that right? We take away the Y. So I erase the Y. What do I do now? Change it to I. And then add ES. So now many people from other countries have come to the United States. Number 3, masses. That doesn't sound right. Blank of people traveled to the West in the 1800s. Aaron, can you figure out what word they're trying to say? The singular form of what word? Let's look at this word. If we take off I-E-S, what do we have? Mass, which means a very large amount, a very large group. But we have to make that plural. So that's the singular form. So which rule do we follow? Rule 1, 2, 3, or 4? Look at the last letter of the word mass, which means a large group. And then what rule would that follow? Number 2. So what do? It ends with S, so we follow rule number 2, which means what do we put at the end? ES. Masses of people traveled to the West in the 1800s. Number 4, some travelers keep blank. Well, Cullen, they have this word, diaries. And then we already know it's wrong. What is the singular form of diaries?
Diary.
Diary. Look at that ending. Look at the ending, the end letters of diary. Which rule do we need to follow?
Number 3.
Number 3, because it ends with a Y and it has an R before. Is R a consonant or a vowel?
Consonant.
Consonant. So that means, what do I need to do?
Take away the Y.
Take off the Y, change it to
A-I.
an I,
And add ES.
and then add ES. Number 5, gather a few blanks so we can build a fire. They tell us branches. Smith, that's incorrect. What is the singular form of branches?
Branch.
Branch. Look at the ending letters of branch. Which rule would we follow?
Rule number 1.
Look at this, the box at the top. I shouldn't have numbered those rules. Look at the boxes at the top. Are we going to follow add S to form the plural of most singular nouns? Look at the ending letters.
We follow rule number 2.
Because this word ends with,
CH.
so what do we do to make it plural?
Add ES.
Add ES. Gather a few branches so we can build a fire. Number 6. She caught a rabbit that was hiding in the blank. Carla, we have bushes, and we know it's wrong. What is the singular form of bushes? Bless you, Colin.
Bush.
Bush. Look at the ending letter or letters of bush. Which rule are we going to follow?
We're gonna
1,
follow
2,
number 2.
3. Hold on, Carla. Wait till I'm ready. Are we going to follow rule 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Number 2.
2. Why?
Because there's a S-A.
Good. So what do we do to make this plural?
We add ES.
ES. So we have she caught a rabbit that was hiding in the bushes. Very good. Number 7, I asked the neighbors to blank to help me milk the cow. Victoria, we have the incorrect plural form of boys. What is the singular form of boys? What is the singular noun for boys? Boy. Now look at the ending letter or letters. What do we need to do? Which rule are we going to follow? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Number 3. Number 3 says it ends in a consonant and a Y. Is O a consonant? What are consonants? Who can tell Victoria what are consonants? Michaela. Letters that are not vowels. What are the vowels? A, E, I, O, U. So is this O a consonant? No. So are we going to follow rule number 3? Number 3 says if it ends in a consonant and Y. This is not a consonant, it's a vowel. So which rule do we follow? Which one talks about a vowel and a Y? Number 4. So you guys have got to pay attention when you get to your independent practice. You're not just looking for Y, because then you might be wrong and you might change this Y to an I and then add ES and have this. Victoria, is that a word? No. So pay attention. So we follow rule 4, which means what do? Do we change this Y? No. What do we do? I just add S. I asked the neighbor's 2 boys to help me milk the cow. Number 8. Some people use the old trail, but a few found new blank. We have the word pathway. Well, did they even give us a plural noun, Zari? No, they didn't do anything at all to show that it was plural. Well, let's look at this word. What is the singular form of pathway? Zari?
Pathway.
Pathway. Now look at the end. Which rule are we going to follow? Rule 1, 2, 3, or 4?
One.
Well, look at it again. What do we have? What's the last letter?
Y.
Y. So look at the 2 rules that have Y, 3 and 4. Which one are we going to follow? Number 3 with a consonant and a Y, or number 4 with a vowel and a Y?
With a vowel.
So which rule is that? Number? Which rule is that? Number?
4.
4. So what do we do to make this plural? Are we going to change that Y?
No.
No. So what are we going to do?
We're going to add a S.
We're going to add an S. Good. Number 9. That chest has many blank. We have the word scratches, but it's incorrect. Michaela, what is the singular form of scratches? Scratch. Now look at the end of that word. Which rule are we going to follow? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 2. Why? What does it end with? What does scratch end with? So when a singular noun ends with CH, what do we do to make it plural? We add ES. That chest has many scratches. So for grammar, on the front says singular and plural nouns at the top. So you're going to put your name, number, and date at the top, the side that says singular and plural nouns. You're doing the same thing that we did on the first page of the guided practice, where you're just telling, okay, underline the noun in each sentence after you read the box. Underline the noun in each sentence, the person, place, thing, idea, pet, whatever. Then you have to tell whether that noun is singular or plural. So you have to read the sentence and then underline the noun, the person, place, thing, or idea. Then you have to tell, is that noun singular or plural? So what are you looking for at the end? Colin? An S. Good. Then on the back has the the plates, the dishes. You're going to look at the word they give you. Well, read the box first. Then you have to add S or ES to the end of each word to form the plural. So you have to look, what are the letters at the end? Do you need to add an S or do you need to add an ES? Which rule are you not going to have to worry about? Don't tell me the number, tell me the rule. Since it's not telling you to do one thing, which rule are you not going to have to worry about? Aaron? Changing a Y to an I. You won't have to worry about that. So you're not going to have to worry about consonant Y plurals. There's a chance, can't remember, there's a chance you might see vowel Y, but you won't see consonant Y. Okay? Go ahead, keep working on social studies.